Anger is one of the most destructive emotions that can control our lives, leading to regret, broken relationships, and unnecessary suffering. Yet the wisdom of Stoicism offers a path to freedom from its grip, allowing us to transform our frustrations into powerful lessons in self-mastery. Imagine a life where external events no longer dictate your mood, where the actions of others cannot shake your inner peace, and where you respond to challenges with clarity instead of rage. This is the power of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has helped some of history's greatest minds navigate the complexities of human emotion. To master anger, we must first understand it. Anger arises when our expectations are not met, when we feel wronged, or when we believe we have lost control over a situation. But as Epictetus teaches, it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. If we can change our perspective, we can change our response, and that is the key to never being controlled by anger again. The first lesson in Stoic anger management is recognizing that anger is natural but not necessary. While it is a natural human emotion, we have the power to override it with reason. Just as a fire may begin with a spark but needs fuel to grow, if we refuse to feed it with resentment and negative thoughts, it will extinguish itself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, advised himself daily to expect the worst from people: insults, betrayal, selfishness. But rather than react with anger, he reminded himself that these flaws were the result of ignorance and lack of wisdom, not personal attacks. If we shift our mindset to accept that people will act according to their nature, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectation that they should always behave as we wish. The second lesson is understanding the impermanence of anger. Just like all emotions, anger is fleeting, and if we learn to observe it without attaching to it, it loses its power over us. And Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest teachers, advised practicing delay. When we feel anger rising, we should take a pause before speaking or acting, because most regrets stem from words or actions taken in a moment of fury. But if we give ourselves time to cool down, we often see that the problem was not as serious as it initially seemed. Imagine being in a heated argument, and instead of reacting immediately, you step back, take deep breaths, and respond later with a clear mind. This simple practice alone can save relationships and prevent unnecessary suffering. The third lesson is to reframe adversity as an opportunity for growth. The Stoics believed that obstacles are not hindrances but training grounds for our character. So instead of viewing difficult people or situations as threats, we can see them as challenges that strengthen our patience and self-control. And as Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This means that if someone insults you, instead of seeing it as an attack, you can see it as a test of your ability to remain composed. And if you succeed, you have won, not them. The fourth lesson is to shift your focus from external events to internal control. One of the most important Stoic teachings is the dichotomy of control, which states that some things are within our power, like our thoughts, actions, and reactions, while other things, such as other people's behavior, are not, and wasting energy on things we cannot control only leads to frustration. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you can get angry and curse them, or you can acknowledge that their actions are beyond your control and focus on your own peace of mind. Which choice serves you better? The fifth lesson is practicing gratitude and perspective. Seneca reminds us that much of our anger comes from entitlement, as we feel that life owes us fairness, respect, or convenience. But when we shift our mindset to gratitude, we see that nothing is truly owed to us, and every good moment is a gift. Instead of fuming when your flight is delayed, you can be grateful that you have the opportunity to travel at all. Instead of getting angry when someone is rude, you can appreciate the kindness you receive from others. The sixth lesson is to avoid emotional contagion. Emotions are contagious, and if we surround ourselves with angry, negative people, we will absorb their energy. So the Stoics advise choosing our company wisely. If we must deal with an angry person, we should strive to be the calm in the storm rather than letting them drag us into their chaos. And we can also protect our mental space by limiting exposure to anger-inducing media or discussions that serve no purpose but to provoke outrage. The seventh lesson is to engage in daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal where he examined his thoughts and actions each day, asking himself if he lived according to his principles. And by reflecting on our moments of anger, we can identify patterns and work on improving our responses. When we review our day before sleep, we can ask, what triggered my anger today? How did I react? How could I have responded better? Over time, this self-awareness helps us build emotional resilience. The eighth and final lesson is the power of forgiveness and letting go. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer, as it only harms us, while forgiveness is not about excusing bad behavior but about freeing ourselves from the burden of resentment. When we forgive, we reclaim our peace, and when we let go of past grievances, we lighten our hearts and move forward with clarity. In conclusion, anger is a choice, and by applying these Stoic principles, we can train ourselves to respond with wisdom instead of rage, viewing each challenge as an opportunity to practice patience, seeing others' faults as a reflection of their own struggles rather than personal attacks, focusing only on what is within our control, and choosing gratitude over entitlement. With these practices, we can live a life of true inner peace, no longer enslaved by fleeting emotions, but empowered by reason, strength, and self-mastery. Anger, though a natural human emotion, is one of the greatest obstacles to inner peace and self-mastery. Throughout history, anger has led to wars, broken relationships, and personal suffering, yet those who have mastered their emotions have unlocked a level of clarity and resilience that makes them unshakable. The teachings of Stoicism, as explored in this discussion, offer a powerful framework to free ourselves from the grip of anger, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and composure. But true mastery over anger is not achieved overnight. It requires consistent practice, self-awareness, and a commitment to changing how we perceive and react to situations. To ensure that you never allow anger to control your life again, let's conclude by reinforcing the key lessons, expanding on their deeper implications, and providing a roadmap for implementing them in your daily life. The first and most important realization in this journey is that anger is always a reaction, not a necessity. When we strip anger down to its core, we see that it arises from expectations of how people should behave, how events should unfold, and how life should treat us. When reality does not align with our expectations, we feel wronged, betrayed, or disrespected, and in response, anger flares up. However, as the Stoics teach us, the problem does not lie in external events, but in our attachment to how we think things should be. If we can break free from rigid expectations and embrace life as it unfolds, we significantly reduce the number of things that have the power to upset us. Imagine going through an entire day without expecting anything from anyone, no expectation that people will be kind, that events will go smoothly, or that life will be fair. With this mindset, nothing can truly disturb your peace, because you have already accepted that life is unpredictable and people act according to their nature, not your desires. This does not mean we become passive or indifferent. It means we gain the power to choose our responses instead of reacting impulsively. Every time anger arises, we must remind ourselves, is this worth my peace? Most of the time, the answer is no. And even if we feel justified in our anger, the real question is, will my anger improve the situation? Rarely, if ever, does anger lead to positive outcomes. It clouds our judgment, makes us say things we later regret, and distances us from logic and wisdom. True strength is not in unleashing our rage but in holding our composure when provoked. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Simply pausing before reacting allows us to regain control, shift our perspective, and respond with intention instead of impulse. Another crucial step in overcoming anger is recognizing that it often stems from insecurity or a perceived loss of control. When someone insults us, we feel disrespected. But why? Because we fear that their words define us? Because we feel the need to defend our image? The truth is, no one's words can define us unless we give them power. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, and our inner peace, we take back our power from external forces. Letting go of the illusion of control over others liberates us from unnecessary frustration. Furthermore, practicing gratitude serves as a powerful antidote to anger. When we shift our focus from what is wrong to what is right, from what we lack to what we have, anger loses its grip. A flight delay, for instance, might trigger frustration, but if we step back and remind ourselves that we are fortunate to have the opportunity to travel in the first place, our perspective changes. Every time we feel anger rising, we can reframe the situation. What is this teaching me? How can I use this as an opportunity to grow? Instead of seeing obstacles as inconveniences, we can see them as training grounds for patience, resilience, and wisdom. Another powerful practice is emotional distancing. When we observe our emotions as if they belong to someone else, we gain objectivity. Instead of saying, "I am angry," say, "I am experiencing the emotion of anger." This simple shift creates space between you and the emotion, allowing you to analyze it without being consumed by it. Ask yourself, what triggered this anger? Is my response necessary? Will this matter in a year? Most of the time, we realize that the things that upset us are trivial in the grand scheme of life. It is also important to acknowledge that some people thrive on conflict and negativity, and if we allow ourselves to be drawn into their energy, we lose our peace. Not everyone deserves a reaction. One of the most powerful things you can do is remain calm in the face of provocation. When someone tries to anger you and fails, they lose all power over you. Silence, in many cases, is the most profound response. The moment we stop allowing others to dictate our emotions, we become truly free. This brings us to the final and perhaps most profound lesson: forgiveness and letting go. Many people hold on to anger for years, carrying grudges like heavy burdens. But who does this truly hurt? Not the person they are angry at, but themselves. Anger is a prison we build for ourselves, and forgiveness is the key to setting ourselves free. Forgiveness is not about condoning bad behavior, it is about refusing to let the actions of others steal our peace. When we forgive, we reclaim our power. So how do we integrate these lessons into daily life? First, begin each day with a Stoic reflection. Remind yourself that challenges will arise, that people may disappoint you, and that unexpected events will occur. Instead of resisting these realities, accept them in advance, so when they happen, you are prepared. Throughout the day, practice mindfulness. When you feel anger rising, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? End each day with self-reflection, review your reactions, identify moments where you could have responded better, and commit to improvement. Over time, these small practices compound, transforming your emotional responses and making you unshakable. In conclusion, anger is a choice, not an inevitability. By applying Stoic principles, managing expectations, practicing delay, reframing adversity, focusing on what we can control, cultivating gratitude, emotionally distancing, avoiding unnecessary conflict, and embracing forgiveness, we can break free from its grip forever. True strength is not in reacting with rage, but in maintaining composure when the world around us is chaotic. As you move forward, challenge yourself to view anger not as an enemy, but as a teacher, a signal that there is still room to grow, room to strengthen your self-mastery, and room to cultivate unshakable inner peace. When you reach a point where nothing can disturb your tranquility, you will have truly mastered yourself, and that is the greatest power of all.